This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Principal calls for dedicated fund to combat violence in schools. President of the Jamaica Association of Principals of Secondary Schools, Lindvern Wright, has called for a dedicated fund to provide much-needed resources to educators to combat crime and violence in schools. This follows news that some boys in grades 10 and 11 at an undisclosed corporate area high school have formed gangs and are taking weapons to school. Mr. Wright said a different approach is needed to deal with students involved in criminal activities.
They are behaving as adults, and when we get into dealing with them, we have got to take tough action. And if it means that we're going to put them into institutions made for them specifically, right? That's the kind of thing. I don't think we have enough of this, because I think we are burying our head in the sand as a country as to the kind of children that we have to deal with because of the kind of home that we have. And if we don't face that and deal with it seriously, what we have are talking about soft approaches and psychology and whatever. And I'm not saying that those things don't work. What we are not doing with the psychology and the sociology, we are not putting enough money into those things. If we put NHT, for example, to build houses, we have billions of dollars in some kind of fund for that. What kind of billions do we have to build social programs in this country? When you take a St. George, a Woolman, a Kingston College, versus a Denham Town, a Tivoli, a Haile Selassie. These are all schools that are at the border or in inner city areas. But it is the resources that the past students and other people have put into some of these schools and the vested interest that the parents have put in these schools that has made a difference, right? The ones that have just been left and there is nothing in terms of that kind of response. And then look at the irony of it. The schools that are problematic are the ones that we group all the students who are of a certain social background, weak socioeconomic status, and we put them all one place. Coming from inner city communities, we put them all one place. Low academic achievement, we put them all at one place. What do we expect?
President of the National Association of Deans of Discipline, Samuel Smalling, agreed that schools will continue to experience incidents of crime and violence until administrators get adequate resources. He recommended that each school gets a walk-through metal detector at the gate so that once that alarm goes off, we know how to respond.
So if we want to stop these kinds of things, every school, for instance, should have walk-in metal detector at the gate, so that deans of discipline, principals, and teachers don't necessarily have the trust of students. But once the alarm goes off, we know how to respond to a situation like that. When we think of the main schools, that in terms of access, or we don't have any perimeter fencing, students can access the school compound from all different angles. How do you control weapons and other things coming on the campus and threaten the safety and security of staff and other students?
Man hospitalized following St. James knife attack. A man is in hospital in critical condition following a knife attack along Barnett Street in Montego Bay, St. James on Tuesday afternoon. One of his alleged attackers was taken into custody. The Barnett Street police report that shortly after midday, the man was walking along a section of Barnett Street close to the Barnett Street police station when he was attacked and stabbed by 4 men. Cops who were in the area intervened and were forced to discharge several rounds from their service pistols to assist the wounded man. The police also managed to apprehend one of his attackers, while the others escaped in the vicinity of Railway Lane. The injured man was rushed to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, where he was admitted in serious condition. St. James, a businessman, fined $50,000 over seizure of exotic birds at his home. Chad Headley, the St. James businessman who pleaded guilty last month to unlawful possession of several exotic birds which were found at his home, was today fined $50,000. Headley was charged with breaches of the Wildlife Protection Act and the Endangered Species Act after 90 endangered species were found at his home. He, however, pleaded guilty to 2 breaches under each act. During Headley's sentencing hearing before the St. James Parish Court today, his attorney Martin Thomas asked presiding parish judge Sasha Ashley to focus on sentencing his client in relation to the breaches of the Wildlife Protection Act and to defer sentencing concerning the breaches of the Endangered Species Act. Thomas told the court that Headley had received the animals from a neighbor as a gift for kindnesses he had displayed to that person in the past. He is a lover of animals, and it is unfortunate that the police came to his premises and found all these animals in his possession. He pleaded guilty at the earliest possible time and has not wasted the court's time, Thomas argued. In handing down the sentence, Ashley told Headley that ignorance of the law was no excuse to breach the legislation. She then ordered him to pay a fine of $50,000 or spend 30 days in prison for breaches of the Wildlife Protection Act and set the sentencing hearing for the breaches of the Endangered Species Act for December 12. According to the court records, the seizure of the exotic birds and other wildlife took place on June 15 this year, at the same time when 25 pounds of cocaine was reportedly seized at Headley's home by a police team. Chad Headley and his wife Sheena Headley were subsequently charged with possession of, dealing in and taking steps to export cocaine in relation to the drug seizure. They are to return to court on those charges on November 29. Taximan murdered in Grantspan, St. Andrew. A taximan was gunned down along Dulwich Drive in Grantspan, St. Andrew this morning. He has been identified as 28-year-old Travado Patterson. According to eyewitnesses, Patterson was arguing with another man when he was shot and killed. A police search is now on for the shooter who escaped. Illegal guns seized in St. Andrew's traffic stop, 3 men arrested. 3 men were apprehended following the seizure of a firearm and several rounds of ammunition on Grantspan Avenue, St. Andrew on Monday. Reports from the Constant Spring Police are that about 12:15 p.m., lawmen were on patrol in the area when they signaled the driver of a Toyota Corolla Fielder motorcar to stop. The driver complied and the vehicle and its occupants were searched. According to the police, a .40 pistol along with 4.40 rounds of ammunition was seized. The occupants of the vehicle were arrested pending further investigations. Broadcasting Commission bans music promoting illegal activities. The Broadcasting Commission has issued a directive requiring broadcasters to immediately stop airing any audio or video which promotes scamming, abuse of drugs, illegal or harmful use of guns, or any form of criminal activity. In a statement on Tuesday, the Commission said this includes live editing and original edits by producer, label, as well as the use of near-sounding words as substitutes for offensive lyrics, expletives, or profanities. The Commission says the directive reinforces their commitment to keeping the airwaves free of harmful content, given the important role traditional media still play as agents of socialization. The use of the public airwaves to broadcast the songs that promote or glorify illegal activity could give the wrong impression that criminality is an accepted feature of Jamaican culture and society. It could also unwittingly lend support to moral disengagement and further normalize criminality among vulnerable and impressionable youth and the young adult demographic, the release read. Executive Director of the Commission, Cordell Green, said this directive was the end product of a wide-ranging process that included focused monitoring, decoding of subculture dialect and urban slangs, deliberations on balancing free expression vis-a-vis protection from harm, and consultations with industry. Part of the difficulty in dealing with music, especially that which emerges from a subculture, is that it takes time to identify, understand, and verify the slangs and colloquial language used. He added, understandably, new street lingua may take some time before they are normalized or their meanings become well entrenched. The Commission also has to be circumspect in its actions, knowing that regulatory attention can have the unintended consequence of giving exposure to and popularizing subcultural phenomena. Green noted that while content regulation must always have regard for the right to freedom of expression, any context in which criminality is presented through music or videos as normal behavior conflicts with the tenets of responsible broadcasting. The Commission has also moved to assure the public that it will continue to exert all powers within its regulatory remit to protect the most vulnerable children and impressionable and unattached youth from harmful media content. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.